Good afternoon. I'd like to call this work session, March 7th, to order. And first up, we have a proclamation for Women's History Month. So Councilwoman McIntyre and Councilwoman Burnett, will you join me up here to receive the proclamation? Looking over the words. We're gonna be able to look at both of y'all. Both of you guys. This is a proclamation for Women's History Month. So whereas Women's History Month, recognized annually during the month of March, is an opportunity to celebrate and highlight the contributions and achievements women have made to the United States and over the course of American history. And whereas the National Women's History Alliance, which creates and promotes National Women's History Month each month, has announced celebrating women who tell our stories as the 2023 theme. And whereas American women of every race, class, and ethnic background have made historic contributions to the growth and strength of our nation in countless recorded and unrecorded ways. And whereas American women have been leaders, not only in securing their own rights and suffrage and equal opportunity, but also in the abolitionist movement, the emancipation movement, the industrial labor movement, the civil rights movement, which create a more fair and just society for all. And now, therefore, I, Takesha Martinez, Mayor of the City of Hagerstown, do hereby proclaim March as Women's History Month and encourage all citizens to celebrate contributions and vital roles women have played in American history. And I just want to say thank you guys. You guys are two of the most dynamic women, and it's an honor to make history with you and work together. Do you want to say anything?
Right back at you.
Right back at you. There we go. History-making women.
Thank you.
Want to say anything?
No, you're good. That's great.
Wait for Eric.
How's our hair, Eric?
Looks great. Nice.
Okay. You guys should put your hand on the proclamation. Oh, he's got hair in it. Just like a minute. Okay. All right. Just like on your, you see this?
Hey, good smiles and 1, 2, 3. Okay, got it.
Thank you.
Oh, who gets it? Thank you, I'll take
But
it.
split it in half. Thank you. So next up, we have the BMX Northeast Gold Cup Finals, October 13th through 15th, 2023. And we have Eric Dykey, Director of Public Work, Dan Spedden, Tiffany Ahold, and Amanda Warner.
Sorry, Mom. I'm trying to sneak up on you. Yep, good afternoon. Yeah, we're here to talk about the BMX Northeast Gold Cup Final event, program for later in October 13th to the 15th, which is Friday through Sunday in October at Fairgrounds Park. I'm going to turn it over to this fine crew who will give you more details about it and what they're looking for Mayor and Council tonight.
Well, good afternoon. Thank you so much for your time this evening. We are extremely excited to be here this evening to talk about the USA Gold Cup Finals, as Eric mentioned. And as we get started with our planning, there are a few items that are very important to the success of the event, and we certainly are here tonight to request your support and are here with our partners at Hagerstown BMX. And I think you all know that there's been a great amount of investment in the track. There are lights, there are great conditions, and certainly Hagerstown BMX has really benefited and really expanded their operations as well. So we are here mainly tonight to seek approval for them to allow camping, limited campsites during that weekend, as well as charge admission for parking, specifically for vehicles, folks that are participating in the event itself. And we also want to make clear that we will make sure that the public community has full access to the grounds, particularly those who need to access the skating rink or the skate park. But these funds really benefit Amanda and her group in the long run with additional track maintenance and other expenses.
Tiffany, if you could introduce
I'm sorry?
Yep.
So Amanda Warner is with Hagerstown BMX, and of course, you know our president, Dan Spedden, and I am Director of Sales and Community Engagement. So I have the pleasure of working with the BMX folks on planning the event.
Do you guys have any questions?
Yeah, the specific ask, parking fees, which we'll work out with the Rec Parks Department, and to allow overnight camping, which would be self-contained RVs.
And we would also have security and work with city staff to make sure we have those guidelines and it's managed.
So you understand, we haven't had any logistics meetings yet. This is just the beginning of this. They're still recently awarded, the CBB was only recently awarded funding for this program. So this is really just getting started. So a lot of the details are missing at this point, but we'll work out with staff. A lot of staff has already been contacted, so we're already working through it. And if I can, I'm gonna walk over to one of these screens so I can show you a little bit about the fairgrounds.
What is that, Denise? What is that?
So those that aren't very familiar with fairgrounds, this is the overhead view of the fairgrounds park. This is the main entrance coming off Cleveland, and this is the entrance off Cannon Avenue. This is a little bit older off Google Maps. This is where the skate park would be. This is the outdoor hockey rink. This is the main fairgrounds building, parks offices right in this space. This is where BMX is in the back corner here. And so there's a lower parking lot. There's parking lots down along here. Down here would be the sports complex, which is the ice rink. What we're looking to doing right now is possibly blocking this entrance. They already have a lot of things programmed for that week. They always have stuff programmed, so we want to make sure that they have availability of their space. We would probably be collecting the parking fees here at this entrance and this entrance. People could still walk into the park. They can certainly drive in the park, but what they're asking for is if they could charge for parking. That's one of the few ways they can actually generate revenue for this event. You're expecting, I think, 1,500 people over 3 days, something like that.
Yes.
It's quite a few people, so there's gonna be a lot of people here. The other thing they're asking about is park rules don't allow for camping. And so one of the things they would also like to do is have RV camping, what they call dry camping. There's no electric, we wouldn't provide any electric or any water. So basically it's just parking spaces for their RVs. Would probably be down somewhere in this lower part away from the main venue. All this would be here, and up here would be used for parking for the event itself. Per the agreement with BMX, they can't charge for people to watch the event, but they could, as they're asking, charge for parking. And then they could also charge for the RV. So we have to work out the details of the RV parking, what they're allowed to do and not to do. We've already been talking to the fire marshal. He has concerns, but nothing that can't be overcome. So that kind of gives you an overview of where BMX is at, where most of the action will take place. The rest of the park will be support for the event. Any questions on this?
You said the parking fees would be collected where?
Probably at the two entrances here, at Cannon and Cleveland.
So anybody who wants to maybe use the skate park that weekend? have
They
to
can
pay to
certainly
come
walk in, they can certainly pay to get in. I'm not sure we have a fee yet. I think it was in your proposal, but I'm not sure.
We're proposing $10 a day
Or
or
25.
$25 for the weekend.
Yeah. And obviously, that would be something very new to this, hence the reason we're here asking.
Yeah, I think that would be okay.
So the dog park is there too. And
Dog park
to
is-
charge, I mean, for someone to park and walk their dog in might be a little challenging. So do you have a plan to differentiate, like, I guess if there's a dog in the car, they're going to the dog park maybe? Or will you be charging for
That's what we got,
everyone?
that's what we got to
We need
figure
to
out.
figure
Figure out,
out,
like,
come up
what
with a
that-
system so that we, we can account for why people would be coming into the park and maybe find some alternate parking to make sure.
I mean,
that it's not-
potentially, you could staff here
Right,
and staff here. And
Right.
so people could still use this.
right. Exactly.
Possibly.
Yeah.
But it depends on how much parking they need. So that is a possibility where they could still come into the skate park and use the skate park or use the dog park. So something we need
Yeah, I'd be
to.
okay with that.
Yeah,
I mean, because people are gonna enter off Cannon up there and maybe even park along the sheds that are there.
you're good.
You're fine.
Yeah.
Or
Need one from here,
definitely,
give here.
or definitely more than likely gonna go to your event.
And we want to really start promoting and letting the public and community know well in advance, you know, as many people as possible with signage and getting the message out so that they know that too. I mean, obviously a lot of people will just show up, but we really will put together our communication to let the public know.
You have a question?
What about park uses other than those, you know, leisure recreation activities?
We've already talked to the Y, there is no soccer at that time. We've already talked to the softball league, there's no events at that time either.
It's October.
So if you wanted, it's because it's or it's mid-October.
Yeah.
We had an event scheduled, which is the Harvest Hoedown. We just backed it up further in October because they have a BMX event the weekend before, so we're just scheduling some things around it. We also have the last yard sale of the year, which is in the stables area back here. We pushed that back also. So we just worked around a little bit. But you can certainly walk in. I mean, anybody in the neighborhood, if they park along the street, can certainly walk in and still use the paths and use whatever.
Will there be a number? Like, in other words, you know, campers coming all shapes and sizes, will there be a number?
Yes, there will be a limit, yes.
A foot limit or a limit?
We don't know yet. We have to, another detail we have to work out. The fire marshal has some real concerns with the RV parking, and so we need to see where exactly they can park, what would be the spacing, that sort of thing. We also have some issues like they can't pull out their own grill, and so they'll be hiring security to enforce the rules 24/7, that sort of thing.
How far do the BMX riders come from? Like, where are they coming from?
So, we raced all the way through to December 15th last year, and for the last week and a half, we had 3 families from New York just come down, stayed in hotels to come to the events. But, I mean, we have traveled to California, Texas, Canada.
So all over the
It's
country.
USA
people-
BMX, so this is a regional
Right.
event. So
Okay.
any northeast region, this is the final. So if you are going for that series of racing, anybody in that region has to make this event to plate.
Yeah. I mean, I'd love to see us accommodate as much as possible,
Yeah.
because that's just what a draw for, you know, and I know you've been working on this for a long time, so congratulations.
Thank you, and the officials at BMX, USA BMX told us to expect 800 competitors from all over the country, and they also said that, you know, this regional championship is very prestigious, but it's not the national title, and this is kind of our audition for that. You know, we bid on the national title, we got the regional, but they're not gonna give us the national
Yeah.
without doing a really good job on this regional. And we do a good job on this regional, you're gonna see a bigger race here. It's just square, you know, it's just making Hagerstown the preferred destination for this activity, and that's what we want.
Yeah. I mean, I look forward to the logistics being worked out, so,
We've done plenty of events.
yeah.
We'll figure it
You-
out.
I know you will.
Yeah.
I know.
It'd probably be good to come back maybe every other month, and then as we get closer, just to update everybody on where you're at. So I know the camping is a big concern of the fire marshal, and I'm sure y'all are gonna work that out, but it'd be good just to let everyone, including the public, not only the body, but the public know what's going on.
So the 3 families that are here is my family. I'm the official track operator. The Hansbergs, Julie is our official announcer, does a lot of our marketing, sponsorship, apparel. Lee is our other assisting family, track maintenance, everything. Everybody really dabbles in, it's a team effort. It's the 3 of us, our families that run the track. These kids are the kids that are, you know, with rakes and shovels helping as well. We're asking, all 3 of our families camp, we all 3 travel. Camping is very convenient when you have a lot of kids. And we know hotel-wise, as far as when you have 800 families coming, the hotel capacity, sometimes it's really hard to get a hotel. You know, we've traveled so many times. We went to California and I got the last hotel, and I booked my hotel 2 months in advance. There's perks to getting hotels that USA BMX works to help set up. You get a code, you save on registration. So there's perks to it, there's perks to camping. There's a lot of families. We do the same thing when we travel to a lot of national events. You know, you can't make it because you can't get off work and you can't make it, so we take your kids. I have 2 kids. I race as well. When you bring 4 or 5 kids that are racing, it's really easy to contain them in a camper. It's really hard to get a hotel room that accommodates 2 grown adults and 5 kids, or a family that has 3 kids
Yeah.
and 2 adults. It's really hard, so a lot of those families prefer to camp. Camping is definitely something that people look forward to. BMX is very family-oriented. Everybody, it's a part of the event, so to say. And parking, like the reason we're asking for paid parking is, so USA BMX comes in and runs this event. They do registration, they do scoring. We don't make any money off of registration, whereas when we hold our locals, we make a percentage of that. So we have to pay USA BMX to use the gate for their insurance, and we pay insurance for that. And then there's, just to be a part of the sanction, there's a fee. And of course, whatever the fees are for the awards that are handed out for that event. We make the difference in that. We are not collecting registration. USA BMX takes care of that for this event. So we're not making anything from that. They take care of the awards. The only thing for this event that we would make money to help put proceeds back into the track for further maintenance or upgrades, such as a gate or anything, is from parking, camping, anything we can make off of, regular concession sales, our apparel, and food trucks that we bring in, we get, your percentage off that, that's it. So to offset it, to really, be able to put back in, we're gonna put more money into the track this year, clearly to maintain surface, and make it to where it is that quality. Our track holds up really well, our track is very quality, but we want to be able to make that mark on that list to say, can you have the East Coast Nationals, which is a huge thing. And, currently the East Coast National is between Chesapeake, which is down by BWI, and Northern Virginia, Nova. And the only other place it's been was Trumbull, Connecticut. So we'd like to hit that part of the map and bring it to us.
Eric, I heard you say that the fire marshal has concerns about camping.
Yes.
I mean, explain that a little bit if you know.
We've only spoken a couple of times and very briefly. I think part of it is that you have a camper that has propane typically on it. He's concerned about them having their own, pulling out a charcoal grill. And, the concern is always fire, right, and safety. So there may be minimum distance. We have to keep the vehicles apart, or maybe some things like that. But speaking with the fire marshal on several occasions, he's clear that we can overcome those. We just need to sit
Okay.
down, talk
All right.
about it. We'll figure it out, yeah.
That's what I wanted to know.
And I'm kind of getting the impression too from Amanda that you'll probably be living there for 3 days, and hence the reason, they're there.
All the people in this room will be living there for
Right.
about
And so the
a
camping
week and a
isn't
half
just-
Right, longer
prior,
than that.
and
Right, so
the
they're
entire
gonna,
3
they're gonna
days.
literally be here all the time, and so
Yeah.
to leave the space and come back, for those who've ever been involved in events, it's tough. And so they're gonna be there the whole time for those 3 days, and hence the reason some of this camping is for.
Sure.
But it will be limited, because they need spaces for, people to come in and park, and of course, we have to meet certain regulations with the fire marshals. But nothing we can't overcome.
Will this,
Yep, I'm good with
will
this.
this be streamed, like Flow Sports or
This,
We were on this,
or
the
someone?
final is, the Gold Cup final streamed?
Yes, it's on.
Yes, so if you go to YouTube and you pull up
Okay.
USA BMX, you'll be able to
Yep.
click on the live event.
Yep.
I know the nationals are streamed, we've
Is
always
there
been racing the
advertising
finals. We've
possibilities, or something, where we could
There are a lot
help the
of,
city or,
there's a
yeah?
lot of sponsorship advertising opportunities, and we're gonna be packaging all that and sharing that as
Okay,
we continue to
okay,
work
good.
with USA BMX.
Good.
And I also just wanna say, we know the camping's important, but we know that folks will still be reserving our hotels. I mean, conservatively, you look at 300 room nights.
Yeah.
So, we know that economic return will be there too, and even with camping, our hotels will still. be
Camping
This,
is-
this is not gonna be filled with campers down here.
No.
We know they come in all shapes and sizes, so all those sort of things we have to talk through and figure it out. So maybe it's 20 campers, maybe it's 10 campers, maybe it's 50, we don't know yet, but we'll figure that out. And of course, he said we can come back and
We'll have
update the
the
council.
more final plans.
Just like, in my former life, I ran the second largest campground in the county for 25 years. Yogi Bear Resort was larger than Greenbrier, but Greenbrier was way up there, and we did RVs every week, and we never experienced anything.
So you're volunteering to be in charge of the
So-
camper, is that what you're doing?
And the other thing is, a couple years
Put an
ago,
orange vest on.
we worked through it with the health department that, so in Washington County now, a self-contained RV can spend the night at one of our farms that has produce, corn mazes, creameries, other activities like that. So now they can allow a certain number of RVs to stay overnight on their farm tourism operation. And that was just a work through with the health department, and we've been doing that for years, and it goes on without a hitch.
I'm good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just think that we need to be cognizant that unlike Yogi Bear and Greenbrier, which I'm familiar with, I camp, all the
Right.
time, is they're not surrounded, succinctly by residences, and so.
Sure.
I think as you work through that logistically in terms of location, locating campers, where there can have that atmosphere that's gonna happen later in the evening, away from what our direct.
Well, and like I said, we're talking about down in this area possibly, which is away from the residents,
You're gonna
residents are,
disturb the ice.
right. And
It's still
so,
need parking.
the ice rink will be,
Right.
it's mainly about making sure there's enough parking up here, around this, around where the event's actually gonna be held. The vendors, the food vendors, all that sort of thing is gonna happen up here. And so to us, it makes sense initially, this will probably be where they'll end up. But again, we'll update you as we figure all that out. But it's a good point. We know we have to, like I said, we don't have a lot of details on it. We just want to make sure we can move forward with our initial plan, and then we'll work out the details.
I took the maiden voyage around that bike track in 1999.
Nice.
Oh, my gosh.
We have to come back for the opening ceremony.
Did he say 99?
Yeah.
So the other thing good with having some campsites is, it's a place like when there's a rain delay, that you have a place to go. And whether it's your camper or you're inviting the rest of your team in, usually shelter for the kids is one of the main goals, instead of everybody trying to shove underneath of the stalls or their 10-by-10 tent and keeping the bikes out of the rain, so.
Since you brought that up, just a quick update. These stables up here, I think there's 72 of them. We received what's called LPPI funding to replace the roof, the metal roof on half of this. The rest of it's being done now, probably done in another week or two. I think they made it as far as the BMX recently, so this will actually have all new.
Into the track.
Yeah, so
All new roofing.
they're somewhere right in here already, and they'll finish this out here in the next few weeks, within a month. So should we have a rain, like, you have a lot of space in there that people can get under and get out of the rain. So,
Well, you used to put cows and stuff.
Thank you.
Sounds great. Yep.
Thanks for bringing the team, too.
Yes,
Hi, everybody.
Where can you purchase your apparel? I love the design.
So all of our apparel we sell at the track. We
good.
haven't
Okay.
did a
Here's the
live
track.
link, but we have long sleeve shirts, we have sweatshirts, we have t-shirts, tank tops, shorts, sweatpants,
They have joggers.
still,
I'm
right?
in.
All right,
Mm-hmm.
some hats.
Yeah.
I'll be coming to the track, so I can, some apparel. Thank you.
We do race on Mondays and Wednesdays.
Mondays and Wednesdays, thank you.
Mondays and Wednesdays, race starts around 7 PM, and some occasional Saturdays throughout the season, we will be racing.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Little trip.
Yeah.
I think there's 118 events on the calendar for this year that we schedule.
Wow. Well,
Thanks for all you do, yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you.
definitely to the families.
Yeah.
Thank you. Family
Thank you
event.
all.
Thank you, everyone.
for your time.
Thank you. Do you have anything to add?
City administrator.
Just want to thank everybody for what I thought was a very successful State of the City today. Eric, come out here, come in here.
Oh, yay.
Want to thank, the legend Wes Decker, Eric Hastings, who's the magic behind the
Yes.
video. Nobody ever gets to see Eric, so he's the best. He's the best.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it is teamwork.
You have to say that, he's your boss. But, yeah, and seeing these guys every day, like I do, going through, trying to herd you all around to get your stuff done, and then getting their stuff done is, you know, is pretty manic for them, so they'll get to go home at 4 o'clock probably on Friday instead of 4:30 as their reward for doing everything they do.
That's a good deal.
Yeah, I'm that kind of guy,
You are.
You are someone else.
and that's it for me.
Councilwoman McIntyre?
It was a great state of the city. As a matter of fact, Chief Lord came up to me and said that it was one of the best he has ever attended, so, which is always, he said that the 5 of us looked cohesive and we were, you know, speaking with unity, and that it was a very good experience, he thought, for everyone. And, I mean, the poem, just epic, Mayor Martinez, just epic. And the fact that Paul Fry asked you to do it was even better, so, I thought it was really great, so glad to be a part of it. That's it.
Just have to be a little bit more demonstrative. Come out of your shell a little bit.
Councilmember Burgess, nothing? Councilwoman Grenette?
Oh, yeah, kudos to the State of the City video and all the work that went behind that. I always joke with Wes that I'm the worst speaker on those videos because it's so many words, and I had the longest part. I don't think y'all knew that, but I think I did okay.
asked. I said, why did she
had
have the longest
part? And I just, yeah, but
I did.
it's great video, great content. Thank you to everyone that participated in creating that video. And this week begins the phase 1 of the Wheaton Park project. So again, this was a community-driven project. We met with the community, we got the feedback, and we will have a misting pad and some other improvements that was made possible from the community. Thank you.
Yes, it's awesome.
Councilmember Alshire?
Yeah, just to echo the comments of the state of the city this morning, and I'm glad that you hit on the point, you know, that there were, you know, community meetings held, and, you know, I think that this body has tried to do that in just about everything we've done in the last 2.5 years is, you know, meet and get input and take guidance from that input and then take action. And so, you know, anybody that I think has or has been given the impression that it is not that way, I think even this evening's a good example of that. You know, I don't see these folks any other day. I don't know most of them, but, you know, we try and engage directly with the folks that are using the things that we're supposed to be building for the kids that I see out there that benefit from them. And so, thank you for coming in.
So I just want to thank BISFA, Barbara Ingram School of Arts. On Monday morning, their entire school assembly welcomed me. I'm just spent a few minutes, but it was really cool to start out the morning on Monday with a group of artists, and I got to say I'm an artist too. And so that also their band was playing, which was awesome. And then I left straight from there and went down to Annapolis. So that was kind of like a good send-off to start out with Barbara Ingram at the Maryland Theater. And then also, thank you to our public relations, and definitely thank you, Wes and Eric, for, you know, all the craziness, but getting through it. I came in and was like, so, I got it, we're gonna do it. 1 minute, 2 minutes, and we're done. Got a meeting coming in 55 minutes later, and come back the next day in the same outfit to get more footage. So thank you for, you know, being like, yeah, 1 minute, and then 55 still shaking your head. So thank you for that. You guys are good sports. And also Paramount Elementary, I was there and I spoke to 3 fourth grade classes today. And they had really great questions. I mean, one of them was said, as I'm on my ride through with my parents, I see a lot of empty warehouses. What are you guys gonna do about that? And it's like, you know, empty buildings, there's a lot of them. And one of the other kids said, well, I think that we need like a kid's bar. He said, but not where alcohol, but like fun stuff. And so I think he was thinking like, you know, like a fun place for kids. So they had great ideas. That was really cool. And I also agree, the state of the city was awesome. Thank you guys for being great sports. And yeah, I feel like, I don't know why Paul wanted that poem. I mean, that blew me away, but it was really fun. Even though it was before 8 a.m. It was fun, and it was a room full of people that actually their faces looked like they were having a good time too. That means everything. All right, and with that, Oh.
Letter.
Yes.
Oh, yes,
Oh, yeah.
thank you. Good job, yes. So, Brother Andy, with Speak Up Community News and Brothers Who Dare to Care is requesting a letter of support to go down to one of our senator's office for a building for the youth corps, and ask that he has down at the state. Would you guys be okay with a letter of support?
I'm good.
Absolutely.
All right, well, thank you. And also, thank you to the BMX families that are here. I mean, I'm loving the Maryland, logo type thing. And I love family engagement activities, and I'll definitely be to one of you guys' match very soon. And with that, we are adjourned. Thank you.
Hello and welcome to Council Wrap. This is the biggest Council Wrap ever in terms of participation, so I'm pretty excited about that. We got Dan Spedden and Tiffany Ahalt from Visit Hagerstown, the Hagerstown, Washington County Hagerstown, Washington County Convention and Visitors Bureau. See, I got the first part right, and then I messed up the last part. And then Amanda Warner from BMX Hagerstown. Great to have all of you here. You have to be pretty encouraged with what you heard from Mayor and Council. I know they were only giving head nods this evening as it relates to the big event coming up in October. Amanda, I'll go to you first. Talk a little about that event, the name of the event, what it means for the BMX world, and why it's important to bring it to Hagerstown.
So it's the Northeast Gold Cup Final, which is your regional event. Each age group category, novice, intermediate, girls, and expert. It's a regional final. So you race all year long. You must race 2 Gold Cup qualifiers to have your scores to race the final. And then depending on your placement in the final, they award 3 plates to each class. And it's a gold plate, first, second, or third. Gold Cup 1 gets a jacket as well. And it's your regional standings for the year.
And what age groups are we talking about?
There is balance bikes. Hagerstown BMX has a 1.5-year-old balance bike.
Okay.
And our oldest rider to participate at Hagerstown was 68.
Wow. Boy, that really spans the ages, that's for sure. I had no idea that, the ages were that well represented. That's exciting, and I think not a lot of people know exactly what goes on in the BMX world. Dan, you know a lot about a lot. And
Right.
this is something that has you've been working on for a number of years. The CVB's been working on bringing things like this to
Right.
Hagerstown. There's a partnership between the city of Hagerstown, Hagerstown BMX. Certainly, you want to bring as many people to town as possible. Tell us why this event is so important.
Well, first and foremost, it's a great, wholesome family activity.
Yeah.
That's number one. Number two, you use it to elevate the profile of our community as a preferred destination, not just for BMS cycling, but for everything we have to offer. So it's a first date with our community, with a lot of people from around the country. That's amazing to us. We want to put as many people in local hotels as we can, because that helps drive the tourism economy, but every one of those families eats in local restaurants. And they actually spend more in the restaurants than they do in the hotels.
Huh.
So that's the way the tourism economy works. Food and beverage is number one, and then retail is number two. So if you're in town, you might take the kids over to the outlets and get some sports gear for them.
Right.
And then number three is lodging. So there's a lot of money goes through the economy of the town before the hotel gets any. In addition to just driving the economy a little bit, which is a byproduct of a good family activity, we see this event as our audition for a big national championship.
Yeah.
If we impress USA BMX with the way we handle this event, we'll be a top contender for an even larger event.
And what's your sense of that right now in terms of the relationship that you've been able to establish with them?
I'm getting a lot of positive feedback from them, and it all started many years ago when we hosted the USA Cycling Amateur Road Nationals.
Okay.
Because we got a great referral from that organization, a sister organization in USA BMX, and they talk, and oh my God, we went to Hagerstown, we got treated so well. The race went so well, everybody loved it. People had never heard of Hagerstown, and now they talk about it in the racing world quite a bit. That's what the CVB is all about. We don't just do this with cycling, we do it with our local little leagues. You take an organization that's come to this level and you infuse a little bit of cash and upgrades out of them, and you give them the confidence to go host that national championship, host the state championship, and bring all those families to our community. So that's one of our ways of growing our business, is to take an organization that exists and take it to the next level.
Tiffany, what's your strategy for marketing this? I know you mentioned that while you were presenting to mayor and council, a little bit about, what you'll be doing with some sponsorship opportunities and things like that that will be available. Do you know how that's going to shake out just yet?
Well, the beautiful thing about an event like this is that we really rely on USA BMX and our Hagerstown BMX folks who, just by word of mouth and obviously their connections to that whole racing industry, they know all the top media folks. So our Betsy DeVore, our staff person who works with media, she'll work hand in hand with USA BMX as well as Amanda and her team, to promote the event and as well as hosting media while the event's taking place. So, and of course, we're gonna make the most of investing in images and video so we can continue to share that with everybody as well. And we'll be working out sponsorship opportunities as well. We've been really fortunate to receive a really nice grant from the Maryland Sports Commission, which will help us with offsetting a lot of expenses. So, we definitely see some opportunities for small business as well as large business and folks who want to support the event.
Yeah, and what's your level of excitement with this coming to Hagerstown? As you stated during the meeting, I mean, you've traveled all around the country
Yes.
for events like this. So, how excited are you to have this right here in Hagerstown?
So I applied for a Gold Cup qualifier, which is a smaller race, and we didn't get it, but we weren't surprised on that because it's not our rotation. Maryland rotates it between the 4 tracks every year. So it's not quite our rotational year, but we still apply. We had just came back from Grand Nationals, and I just received a phone call and they said, well, congratulations, you've got it. And I cried. And then he said, don't tell anybody, we have to publicly announce it. And we'll do that on Monday. So I got off the phone and I cried, called Julie and let her know, but told her, shh, it's a secret, don't tell anybody. And then I called my husband.
I see, there's an order of priorities.
There's an order,
there.
yes. And then there was a delay in the announcement. And we were on pins and needles.
Oh, I bet.
So when the announcement, USA BMX hosts all the finals, the regional finals, north and south, east, west, and central. So when the announcement finally came out, I think I had to turn my phone off. There was just so much between, just text messages, phone calls, messages on Facebook, the track messenger was just, it was crazy. It was, a lot of people are really excited to come. And the kids that were here, are just a couple. We do have a good local ridership. All the kids that were here tonight race a national level, regional level. So you have a lot of different skill levels that were here tonight. You have a lot of different placement levels, and the jerseys that they were wearing are our track jerseys. These kids go to these national events and they wear these track jerseys if they're not sponsored by a team that requires them to wear a jersey. So for example, my oldest son is ranked 6th in the nation out of the entire male population on Cruiser of all ages.
Seems pretty
Out
good.
of the entire country, like United States,
Yeah.
he is ranked 6th.
Yeah.
Cruz, he race, we hold a Race for Life, and it's a fundraiser that gives back to leukemia. He's the 3rd in the country in
Wow.
fundraising for that
That's incredible.
individually. And because of his efforts and his dedication to that, it earns our track an earned double point race. So instead of just a single point local, it's a double point race. And that's a big thing that he gives back to our track that we wouldn't get on a normal basis. All of these kids put in work. All of these kids are dedicated themselves between working on the track. When my son hurt himself last year, he helped run our concession stand. They're all very dedicated
Yeah.
and help theirself. They're all extremely excited. And none of the kids were allowed to know because they can't keep secrets. But when it finally came out, they were so excited. And, racing after that was, did you see? Because it's my track. It's my
Yeah,
track.
yeah. That-
We've been really fortunate with the weather usually, we don't open until March. Yesterday was our opening day race. It was actually our 5th race of the season so far. We just didn't have the snow, and we opened up because nobody else was, and people wanted to ride. On, I don't remember the date, but on a Saturday, we had 104 riders, 27 motos on a random January or February race. We had people from North Carolina, South Carolina, New York. I had a rider from Maine. We had a bunch of people from New Jersey. We had an Ohio rider. And our friend flew in from Illinois and stayed with us.
Man, so how far out was
And
that
she-
promoted for them to know about that?
So if you go onto USA BMX,
Uh-huh.
you can click on schedule and it'll tell you every track that's racing. In, the beginning of the year, there's only
Wow.
so many unless you're going to
Yeah.
the West Coast.
Right, yeah.
So some of our local tracks are starting to open up. Chesapeake down by Severn's opening on the 12th. I think Southern Maryland is opening up soon. Cumberland opens up last usually because they're more of that snow and
Yeah.
their weather's a little crazy. But we're going to keep going strong, Monday and Wednesday nights. Starting in April, we do April to October on Tuesday nights from 6 PM to 8 PM is open to the public for free. We do have a limited amount of loaner bikes, helmets. If you show up with closed-toe shoes, long sleeves, long pants, we will give you a bike and a helmet to use for the night, and you can try it out. We do not run the gate for safety and insurance purposes. You do have to sign a liability waiver. If you are under the age of 14, I believe, you do have to have a parent present. Your parent does have to be present the first time to sign the waiver. But it is open to the public for free. And all of these kids of all ages and skill levels will happily take you around the track and tell you where to pedal, where not to pedal, and what to do.
Yeah,
And they love it.
Yeah, they know all the strategies
They
on their
do.
home track for sure. A follow-up question to that, what's the, what is, I mentioned this earlier, the partnership between the city of Hagerstown and Hagerstown BMX? Can you speak to that a little bit?
Like the park, City of Hagerstown?
Yeah,
or-
yeah, how the city, what the city's role is as far as the BMX track is concerned, and then where BMX Hagerstown comes in, and the meshing of the two.
So I wasn't around at that time, but I do believe that they played a crucial role in help opening the track. They've always supported it and,
Yeah,
they take care of trash and restrooms and things of that nature. They always took care of the electric until we did our upgrades with the lights. We take care of that now. But they're always very supportive anytime we need help. Last year, we had glue delivered to maintain the track, and they brought their forklift up and helped me get it all moved because it was big. They're always really helpful.
Yeah,
If there's an issue at all, we always give one of them a call and they take care of it if the fence is cut or broken. And really in any
Yeah.
big events, we let them know when our events are, and they're just always really supportive.
Right,
You get
and-
a really large event, you get a lot of trash, and
Yeah, a lot more
So-
trash generated with those large events, for sure. And as far as that's concerned, Dan, I know money has been, funding has been raised over the years to make these improvements, to
Right.
get to this point. Can you take us back through that a little bit and how we've gotten to where we are?
Sure, we did what I described earlier, you go to an existing organization and try to take it to the next level, and we learned that the track was just not quite up to some national standards, and the lighting, handicap accessibility, those types of things were a must. So we went to work right away to do that, and we came to the city, and they right away offered $50,000 out of their program open space allocation, which was an amazing head start. So then I did a grant application. I went to the county commissioners. The CVB was the recipient, but they gave $150,000 out of the Economic Development and Tourism Fund.
Okay.
So the county commissioners threw that in through us. We engaged Senator Quarterman, and he got a $75,000 bond initiative from the state legislature. And we got a $10,000 sponsorship from Allegheny Energy, and that was the $285,000 we needed. We raised that money and initiated construction in about 8 months.
Yeah.
Which was amazing.
I knew it was a quick
Yeah.
turnaround. I didn't think it was 8 months, but I knew it was a quick turnaround.
It just happened that
Wow.
fast. And the level of cooperation, the city managed the project, which imagine a small nonprofit trying to manage multiple grants.
Yeah.
There's so many grant requirements. So the city managed the project, Rodney Tissue, one of the most willing and amicable people you ever work with. And I remember I was walking in Fairgrounds daily and every day peeking through the fence, watching the progress. And I love my city when we do stuff like this. I'm so proud of this place when we all work together and make something wonderful like this happen.
And Tiffany, going back to the request that was made to mayor and council here earlier, two facets really to that. One, charging for parking at Fairgrounds Park during this 3-day event, something which isn't normally done. And then RVs and the potential for camping over those 3 days. Did you have any reservations about coming to before mayor and council to ask for these things? And in terms of what you heard, seems like, again, as Dan said, I mean, there's a lot of competitive, or a cooperative spirit, I should say, here, that this will get done. So were you pretty pleased with what you heard?
Definitely. I mean, we knew right from the get-go, we really wanted, as Amanda had mentioned, that you've got to have the spirit of working together with city staff. And I have to commend Eric and his staff. They have just been really instrumental and helpful to us as we started the process. And, you really have to have your ducks in a row and talk to the right people and put the right plan together. So that's a win-win for everybody. And, we certainly want it to be as successful for the city and the residents as it is obviously for BMX and our office. So, you've got to just start the process with any event, and working together really, I think, creates a win-win for everybody. And, I think people want, everything to be successful, and it's a way to do that. It's just taking the right steps and having the conversations.
Yeah, and I think it's really encouraging, as Dan said, and as you alluded to, I mean, the potential for going bigger. I mean, this is big, but there's,
Right.
a bigger stage that the city could be hosting eventually.
Pressure's on.
So, well, and the difference is also like, local racing is, we raced last night on a school night. We had 9 motos. I don't remember the rider count, but we've really been averaging between 9 and 16 motos on a nightly, school night, weekly basis. Saturday races are a little bigger, 27 motos, I'd say between 20 and 40 motos you're getting. When we get into our state qualifier that we'll host, I do believe in August, you're talking about between 70 and 90
Wow.
motos.
Wow.
So your Gold Cup final, your regional finals is going to bring in between 120 and 220 motos, depending on, what the weather looks like.
Right.
And people really do gauge that to travel. Speaking from national level, like to bring that national event, which is a level higher than what this is, you could look anywhere between, I think the smallest national I've ever went to in 6 years of traveling was 186 motos, and the largest national that we ever went to outside of your grand nationals, your final nationals, was 700 and something.
Wow.
Sometimes the gate drops at 8 a.m. and you're racing until 1:30 the next morning on some of those larger nationals. Now your really average national is going to bring between 200 and 400 motos, which I think that's double what this regional event will be.
Man.
So,
Yeah, that's something. And anytime I'm out at Fairgrounds Park and there's a big softball tournament or something like that going on, it's just such a great atmosphere out there when that park is filled
Yeah.
with people doing things. And I think, as has been discussed, this is such a family-oriented type event that everybody is just sort of within a village
Correct.
while this event is taking place over 3 days. So I think we certainly look forward to that, just in terms of how that is going to make the park feel. It's going to bring it alive. It's going to be vibrant over the course of 3 days. And of course, we don't lose track of what this is all about too. So I think, again, middle of October, be a big time here in Hagerstown, and look forward to making that happen. So I thank all of you for taking your time to, enlighten everyone just a little
Sure.
bit more about what we're looking forward to. Dan and Tiffany and Amanda, appreciate it very much. And thanks to all of you for watching. For now, that's a wrap. We'll see you next time on Council Wrap.